Hey guys, so this is Paul, and I'm trying to show you the ServiceNow file uploader utility I wrote. Refactor this for Home Depot. So I want to do a quick video documentation because I think it's just easier to show the whole thing, how it's working, and the settings, than trying to write it all out. So I'll just be quick. So this is a C# program. What it's basically doing in the feature set is that it's a console program that you can run. It scrapes through all these files and will upload it to ServiceNow. It has the features is that it's resumable, so if anytime this stops or you restart it, it can pick up where it's left off, and it'll take one or many attachments and upload it for each ticket. It's also fully customizable as far as there's a lot of settings in the config file, so you can change a lot of things about filtering files. So there's certain files type you want to upload, you can filter those out. If there's certain file sizes that are too big, let's say over 100 megabytes, and you want to filter that out, you can do that as well in the config. And there's detailed error logging and running stats. So it's pretty full-fledged program. Like I said, it's great because you can start and stop it. So if you have a huge file upload of 100 gigs of data, you can run this over the course of a couple of days. So basically, the way it works, let me show you here. Like I said, it's configurable from that config file, which we'll go into later, the settings. So you could fast forward in the video if you want to go directly to that. But basically, it's configurable what table it's going to upload to. Once it knows what table, it's going to go and look in at the ID field. So here it's incident ID, and it's going to pull everything in. It's going to pull all the sys IDs and all the ticket IDs. So it has this map in its memory, and then what it's going to do is it's going to look at the file location you give it. So for example, here's just a sample that I made just to test this thing. Here's 3 folders, right? Each folder in this directory has to have the ticket number as the folder name, and then inside that you could have one or many files. So basically it's now in the map in memory. It's going to go through and process the folders. If it finds that record, it tries to do a match. If it doesn't match it, it skips it, moves to the next one. And here, for example, 933, yes, there is a ticket in ServiceNow that has 933. It'll go ahead and start uploading those files and then just continue on. So that's the gist of it. And then the little technical details in the back of how it's working is that it's using SOAP Web Services to do this. It sends it to the ECC queue in ServiceNow. There's an out-of-box attachment business rule that runs on that table, that if it's coming in with a certain topic message on the ECC queue as file attachment, it says, aha, let me go ahead and attach it to the table. You can read about that on the ServiceNow wiki, but it's taking the binary data, base64, encoding it to ASCII, and then putting it on the web service, doing a web service call and putting it on the ECC queue. So now that's covered. Let's just walk through the program and run it, and then we'll show you the config options that are available at the end. So let me just run this real quick. And actually, let me do something first. I've already uploaded some data I forgot to delete. So let me just go ahead and delete these out of here. So we have starting with empty test, and my other record, let me just make sure that's empty. Great. So let me come into release. What I'm basically going to do is just run this exe and see what happens. So I'll go in the config settings, but everything's set up. I'm already pointing to this folder, and it knows what instance it's going to, and it knows what table it's going to. So let me just click run on this guy. That should take just a couple seconds. It's only a few files, so it should upload quick, and there you go, it's done. So to begin with, you could skip this error message. This is if it's resuming. It was looking for process files, text files, since it's the first time running. It just says, hey, I can't find it, but it'll go ahead and create one. So here we go. It says it loaded. It does a 20 lookup records, so it retrieved all the records in that table of the sys ID and the ticket numbers, so it has this like map in memory, so it knows how to do associations. And it says, hey, I got back 20 lookup records. Great. Then it starts processing. It says ServiceNow record doesn't exist for change number, blah, blah, blah. You can ignore the change number. I forgot to refactor that debug that log statement, but it's really ticket number. because I repurposed this utility. So that's correct. There was nothing in my sample data. There was nothing C66940 that doesn't exist in the ServiceNow database. So that's correct behavior. It skips that folder. It starts processing files under another folder. Here it is. It found a hit 933. That's correct. So it starts processing those files. It's a doc file, a text file. It gives you the size as well. Then it moves on to the next folder, 947, processes 2 files in there. That's great. Then some stats in the end. Total of 4 files processed. It filtered 1 file out, skipped 0, and the total files it scanned or processed is 5. So great. So that filtering mechanism was in there, which is pretty cool. So that I actually have a file filter. You can see here I had made a doc file that's 120 megabytes large, and in my config file I said, hey, I don't want to upload anything that's over 100. So that's a little handy feature if you want to use that or not. Anyway, so let me go into the directory where the exe ran. It gives you, well, actually, let me show you the tickets now. So let me go back out to the tables, right? 933. I'll click on one of these, and there you go. I got the 2 attachments, the doc and the text file. So let me go to the folder where the exe ran. You can see some log files. So great. So I have error files. So anything errored out, it'll put that there. And great, it errored out, telling you that one of the folders it couldn't find a match in ServiceNow, so it never uploaded anything. That's good to know. The other one is any filtered files. So it has said, hey, I filtered one of these files. That's the one that's over 100 megabytes large. And then the processed history. And this process history is important because every time it restarts, it scans this file and loads everything in memory of what it already processed. So you can do resuming. So that's it. So there's the logging, the exe, and that's it working in ServiceNow instance. So you can just let this run. You can also point to a map drive if the file is not on this physical machine but on some other network drive on the network. As long as you map the drive and it has a Z colon whatever a map drive mapping to it, you can go ahead and run it against that as well. I suggest you run this across a fast internet connection so that it uploads faster. The last step, let's just go into the config file and show you guys what's available here. So this config file is kind of large. That's because it's a .NET C# application, so this is all auto-generated from the web services and things like that. You can ignore this. Just scroll to the bottom. Don't get scared of that huge XML text. But in the bottom here, you have this application settings section. This is where you can configure everything, right? So we're going to have username, password, instance URL. It's Home Depot dev. That's going to switch that. Flat folder. True or false. This is a feature you're probably not going to use at Home Depot, but I'll explain it anyways. If leaving it for false for now says, okay, there's a hierarchical structure of incidents. Each incident has its own incident folder, right? So leave this to false. If you switch this to true, what it'll do is it'll try to it just assumes you have one folder of all this data, and it actually looks at file names and tries to parse the ID off the beginning of the file name. So an example here you can go to would be something like this. I have a list of files and I have IDs in there, but that's not the way that we're getting the current data, but that option was there because of a previous client. So leave that to false. You can skip that. This is the file path for the flat folder. You can skip it because it's not being used. It's set to false. The folder file path. This is where you want to set your location, the parent folder, where all the other folders live. Here's saying the filtering if you want to just skip anything over the certain file size. You can set this to really high if you don't want to use it. Here's what table you're going to be uploading to. And then here's a great feature for filtering of allowable file types. So you could say, hey, I want to upload all these files, but maybe if there's anything else like exes or stuff like that, I don't want to upload it to the instance. So you could skip it. So you only put the files here that you want to accept, and it'll skip everything else. That's it. That's that. You just save that, and you just run the exe again, and it should work. Like I said, everything is in C#, so if you need to edit the code, it'll give you guys the source code. But hopefully that answers all your questions, and yeah, I think this is a great tool, so have fun using it. Take care.